Hey, always good to be back. So we're talking about process in relation to the promise, right? And we've been talking about Esther, and we're in Esther chapter 2. And in the last video, we saw how she was thrown into a situation she didn't know. She was taken through a season of preparation, 12 months, 6 of oils and 6 of perfumes. And then she was getting ready to go to the king, and she only took what Haggai, the eunuch, told her about. And we're talking about how we have to identify the help that is sent to us when we're in process, because the process is the destination. If you look at the life of Esther, every situation she finds herself in just seems to get harder and harder. So the first prize she was chasing was to be queen, right? The next prize she was chasing was to protect the life of the king, which you will see that in chapter 2, where Mordecai discovers the plot by Bigtha and Teresh. And then he goes and he tells Esther, and Esther tells the king, and the king investigates, and he finds, aha, it is true, right? When he finds it is true, he moves and he has the record put down, and he forgets. And so life is going on. She's been made queen. She's living well. She's comfortable. And then the next prize comes. In the mind of God, the reason she was on the throne was not for her comfort. It was that she would be in position the day his children needed rescuing. And that blew my mind, because the promise is not about me and my comfort. I am sorry if that's what you thought it was about. The price for Christ dying on the cross was our salvation. It was not his comfort. The price for Abraham having Isaac was to build a generation of men and women who would follow God with all their heart, to the detriment of themselves, to the glory and honor of his name. It was not for his comfort. That blew my mind, because the first promise felt like a feel-good thing. She would be pretty, she would be comfortable, she would have all the benefits in the kingdom. But the reason for her arising to that throne comes in chapter 3, when Haman raises his head, and because of his anger to Mordecai, listen carefully, because of Haman's anger to one man called Mordecai, who refused to bow to him, he put the lives of millions of people at stake. My realization is, and it is a terrifying one, that my rising is about the lives of millions of others. It's not for my comfort. And if it becomes for my comfort, then the reason he creates me gets ignored, disabused, put on the side. The reason he created me was not for Chesubire to be comfortable. It wasn't. It wasn't for me to come and take care of my mother and have children and have my child take care of me. No. I was sent into the world to not make a fingerprint. You will see a shape like me in the world. I was sent into the world to transform the realities of heaven to come down. Yesterday in a conversation, we're talking about your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Everything he has that he wants to implement on earth is done in heaven. So my role is to bring those things he shows me as Chesubire here. Not for me to be preparing and looking pretty to take them back to heaven. For what? For what? Esther was put on that throne so that the day Haman raises his head and raises a hand at the people of God, there was the appropriate person in place, in the hidden place. Remember, she had hidden her identity, right? They didn't know she was a Jew. So when Haman puts the plot in place, he doesn't realize that what he's doing is drawing a sword against the queen. What he has done is aiming a missile at the throne next to the king's throne. He doesn't know that. And it struck me as mind-blowing. It's still blowing my mind right now. Because if she had not learned, remember we said the process is the destination. If she had not learned to be still and to do the things as God showed her through the people around her, if she had not learned to take instruction, she'd have lost the plot. Because Mordecai comes to her and says, your people are at stake. And she's like, what can I do? Me, I'm queen. What can I do? And Mordecai said, and this is why my mind is blown, could it be that you were raised for such a time as this? And Mordecai tells her, if you fail to rise today, the Lord will eliminate you and raise his own, who will protect the lineage of his people. What? Yes, even me react like that, because as I sit here, my mind is blown by the reality that she was given a promise of success so that she would be positioned in the place where God needed his people, so that when the edict for the death of his multitudes came, not only did she know how to speak to the king, not only was she in a position of favor, but she was wise enough to know how to do it. By stopping and taking time to pray with her maids and calling Mordecai and every Jew in Susa to pray with her. Your process is not in vain, but it is not about your comfort. Your promise is tied to a process that will provide help, strength, protection for others in the journey. Your process is important, and it is more important than the promise. And that is blowing my mind today. I'm like, what? Because even now I see my journey very differently. Right now, I see my journey very differently. Take time to think about it. Right? See you in the next video. Remember, like, comment, ask questions, give insights, and let's meet again in the next video.